y'all. Hey. How are you? How are you? How are you? Happy Thursday. Um, I am a little late. Sorry, guys. I was actually in a meeting. So I'm just getting on. I hope that you all are having a good day. Hello, hello. So, my name is Tiana Nichelle. I do conversations every Thursday, community conversations called Crown Convos. I am also on YouTube, Crown Convos with Tiana Nichelle, so you can see previous conversations. I am a serial entrepreneur. I also have a nonprofit, among many other things that I do. And so every Thursday, though, we have these conversations. This is to help with maybe whatever issues you might be dealing with, to spark community conversation, thought processes, get the conversation going, because a lot of people are not having certain conversations, so I try to have the conversations that people are not having. Sometimes I do have the conversations that people are having when it comes to maybe certain celebrities or whatever, if I'm talking about relationships, but I try to touch on a lot of different topics. I also talk about empowerment, so you will also get daily empowerment. I also have a mobile app. Download the mobile app, Empower Society. Daily motivation, daily empowerment messages to your phone. And so today's conversation is mean girls that become mean women. And so how this conversation came about is because me and one of my friends was having a conversation about different experiences that we've had growing up. And her experience is not like my experience. She had an experience where, she had a community of girls who she was close to, and they did everything together. So for her, everything was like wonderful. And so as an adult, she expected to have that same experience. And then she did not have that experience. Whereas for me, it was a little bit different because I did not have that experience growing up. I experienced mean girls. When I was young, I was a tomboy. So I didn't really gravitate towards girls because they were so catty. It was always some type of negativity. It was competition. I don't know what the competition was about. I wasn't prepared for the competition because I didn't know what was going on because I was like so oblivious to it. But I didn't want to do all that. So being around boys as a girl, like a little girl, was easier because I could come outside with my hair all over my head and they wasn't going to say nothing. They just be looking like, what's wrong with her today? She ain't do her hair. I actually have a friend that said that. He was like, when we was kids, you look totally different from when we was kids because you did not care. I did not care because I was not trying to impress anybody. But I experienced some mean girls. And it was rather interesting. I was living in Maywood. And I actually had my first fight. I was in fourth grade. And the girl was just like, she didn't like me. I never understood why, because I was quiet in class. This was a time that I just didn't talk in class unless I was called on. I just minded my business. And for whatever reason, this girl was just, I don't know. So, needless to say, I had to learn how to fight. And from then on, my perception of females was totally different. So that's my own experience. And at that time, I was in Maywood. From Maywood, we moved to, well, before that, we was in the Austin neighborhood, but the meanness started when I was in Maywood. And then we moved to Country Club Hills. And I thought the experience would be so different. It was not different. It was not different at all. The girls was actually worse, to be quite honest. I didn't know why. I really didn't know. I saw how they did one another, and I just didn't want no parts. So it was rather interesting, though. Even seeing them walk around in heels and purses, trying to impress boys, it was weird to me as a little girl. But needless to say, a lot of these girls have grown up into women. And even looking at how I viewed relationships with women, I felt that I needed to be guarded because of my own experience. So I didn't open up a lot, even in college. Like, hello. I didn't even say hello, guys that are on here. Even in college, that was one of my hardest times because I didn't know how to really connect to girls, like to women. And I had friends that was just like, we gonna be friends. I don't care what you talking about, because I would rather be by myself than to be around someone that I just felt like was gonna be shady. So for me, I just stayed in my comfort zone. But it's funny because a lot of the friends that I have today was because they was like, we gonna be friends and I don't care what you talking about. Like, I don't care. And we had these conversations, and they know who they are, but they was like, nah, we not doing this. Even being in a women's organization, which I was in a couple, and it was interesting. I didn't care for the cattiness, and I was still trying to figure out really what the cattiness was about. So we gonna have this conversation, like, why is it that girls start off with this whole mean girl thing? Like, how does it even come about? And I'm just starting with my experience, but I know that you all have your own experiences, so feel free to drop whatever you may have experienced in the comments. If you want to come on the live, you can request to come on. But what is it really about? So starting off, I started off with some questions on the post that I made earlier. And one of the questions that I asked is, are women so wounded and traumatized by daddy, mommy, childhood issues, relationships, that we have taken out on other women? That was one of the questions. And I think that if I'm going based on my own experience, I was not so open with other women because of the experience that I had. I didn't have mommy daddy issues. That was not a thing. But going through those issues with girls when I was younger was really why I was like standoffish. I read different articles as well that talked about women who had issues, the same types of issues growing up, and they saw it in the workplace where women were catty, and it was almost like being in middle school all over again, but everybody all grown up. One lady was talking about her experience working in a school, and she was saying that as a teacher working in a high school, that the other teachers, female teachers, there was a catty dynamic that the kids also picked up on. And she was like, they recognize this and they know what's going on. Sometimes they even point out what's going on. But them themselves, because we are the example, they wind up picking that up and then acting it out, which that's what children do. And so I thought that was quite interesting because as a former teacher, I know that you are a role model. and kids really look up to you. Even if you don't think they're paying attention, they are paying attention. Just like as kids, we paid attention to our parents. It wasn't necessarily what they said, it was what they were doing, and we paid attention to what they were doing. But I thought that was really interesting. Now, if I think back on my example, my mom had a gang of friends. Like, she had a gang of friends. So I didn't experience or take her experience because it wasn't my experience, if that makes sense. Like, I saw that she had friends, and they had like their support systems. Like, they hung out. The kids played together. A couple of her friends are my godmoms. You know, you call them aunties, whoever. But like, we did life together. And so it did teach me that there's a possibility of longevity in friendship, but that was not my experience. And, you know, I never asked her necessarily how she was able to cultivate those relationships for, it's been over 20 years of friendship with these people. So the only relationships that I do know about is the relationship with my godmothers and my aunt, who started off as her friend and winded up marrying my dad's brother and becoming my aunt. So they were friends since they were in grade school. So that's rather interesting. But I watch how they are with one another, how they give to one another, all of those different things. I see it really now. But like, I kind of wrote off my mother's experience because it wasn't my experience growing up. Like, I didn't have that super bestie as a little kid. My besties were boys. And we was climbing trees together and playing basketball and getting dirty. And I was getting holes in my clothes from trying to climb up the trees and jump fences. Like, my mom would be pissed. But I digress. I didn't have a female best friend like that until I probably got to junior high. And because we were just alike, it was really crazy. She was a tomboy too. And we was just like, we was cool. We didn't have no issues. But then her family moved away. So after that, we lost contact and didn't find one another until we were adults. But the dynamic has changed now because she's has children and she's married and all of those different things. So her life is different, and she's moved to a different state now. So it's just, things are just different. But that was my first friend. But the other question that I asked was, do we say, or do women stay stunted in middle school behavior because maybe, you know, there was a lack of love, a lack of help, a lack of being, of how you do life with other women, a lack of that being modeled. And I think that that's one of the major issues, because from conversations that I've had with other women outside of my friend, who she and I was having a conversation which sparked this, but everybody's experience has not been the same. They saw messiness with their mother. They saw messiness with their aunts. They saw messiness, you know, with a lot of different women in their family. And so in turn, they picked that up, and they were like, you know, they felt like they always had to be, you know, on the defense, and they have to beat whoever to the punch. There's always a competition. They got to look like this. They got to be like this because it's competition. And I thought that was really interesting, because I'm like, well, then that that really explains what was going on. Because if you see that as a kid and you are a, you know, you're seeing your elders doing this and you're a kid, you're going to pick up on that and think that that behavior is okay. And then you're going to mimic that behavior. If you see your mother constantly cussing folks out, fighting, you know, being messy, starting things, and it's always some type of disagreement. Now, I do know one person in my family that was like that. I will say, I do know one person in my family that was like that. She is no longer with us, but it was, yeah. But she had her own things going on. So I do know one person. But seeing that being modeled will explain a lot of different things. And if there are a lot of girls who see that demonstrated in front of them, then that gives them the same, it's almost like giving them permission to be a mean girl. Even if you're not saying it out of your mouth to be this way, you are still saying it through your actions. So I think that for a lot of women who have children, you have to be a little bit more cognizant of really what you do in front of the kids. But people will say, well, I'm grown, I do what I want to do. But when you're raising human beings, it's actually no longer about you. That is actually how I feel. It is no longer about you when you are raising human beings, because the goal should always be to raise them to be the best that they could be. But if you don't know, and if you have your own issues, and you have issues with love and feeling, you know, like you're never enough, then that's where you need to go get some healing from. Because at this stage and age, and you've grown up dealing with the same mean girl spirit, and then you become a grown woman with the same issues that you had as a kid, at some point it's not serving you any purpose. You should realize that it's not serving any purpose, and it's not healthy. And it's time for you to really get some type of help. You know, maybe it is talking through whatever the issues are. Sometimes we carry on, like I talk about even in relationships, how we carry on what we've been through in one relationship and drag it on to the next. It's the same thing when you're dealing with relationships with other women. You take the issues that you dealt with in your childhood, the not feeling like you're enough, not feeling like you're able to voice yourself, not feeling love, appreciated, or whatever the issues are, and then you carry it over into the relationship with that friend, and now you might be the aggressor, the abuser, because you're like, well, I have to be this way because ain't nobody ever gave me nothing. Ain't nobody ever did this. I've heard women say stuff like that. Ain't nobody gonna give you this. I'm like, that's not my issue. I had a mama and a daddy. I got the love that I needed. It wasn't perfect, but at the same time, I don't have mommy daddy issues. Whatever childhood issues I done got help for, we all good. If you lashing out at every turn, if everything that somebody says to you is an issue, if everything that someone says to you makes you feel insecure, if everything that someone says to you, and especially of the same sex, makes you feel threatened, like you gotta, you know, say something, you gotta feel like, you know, you gotta beat them to the punch, that's a problem. That is a major problem, because that's not even normal, and that's not even healthy. Like, that means that you gotta start checking yourself and realizing the issues that lie within yourself. I talk about mental health. I've talked about it plenty of times. I talked about emotional health. If you are not emotionally healthy, you cannot cultivate a healthy relationship with a kid, a man, a nobody. You have to be emotionally healthy for yourself, and not to be emotionally healthy just to get along. Because some people will try to get themselves together just to get along in the world or get along with the situation, and they're not really healthy. It's almost like putting a band-aid on a deep wound that's just gushing out. So you just put the band-aid on there and it's just cosmetic, but you're not doing the real work. You just saying, okay, well, I did it and that's it, and you still out here bleeding everywhere. That's no. The other part, and the other question that I asked was, do women put up a guard of mean girls because they are fragile in their self-esteem and threatened by other women who are confident and successful? And that is something that I actually see the most when you scroll on social media and women are making fun of other women, or even women who are friends with other women, but knowing that they are making strides and moves in their life and they don't support it. That's a part of it. And honestly, it doesn't take away from anyone when you support them. It actually helps, and it's sowing a seed so that once you decide that you're going to do something and step out and, you know, maybe create a business, maybe go to school for something, whatever venture that you go in, then you will have that same support. And I don't even think that people really realize that when you sow that seed of, it's more like support and almost like creating a kind of investment into the people around you. When you sow that seed, it comes back to you 100-fold. It really does. And it could be where you buy the product, you advertise that they had a business, or you say, okay, you know, what do you need? Do you need me to help you with your notes? Do you, you know, need, what is it that you need from me? If you have schoolwork, or how, you know, how's your classes going? You actually taking an interest in what they're doing. That's a part of it. But then you have so many women that talk crap about other women. And I've heard women say to other women, well, how's your little business going? Or they like, well, how's that little thing that you decided to do, you know, a couple months ago? What's going on with that? And it's just like, what is all of the slick, sly comments for? And it's funny because men have certain things that they deal with, but not to this magnitude. It be real shade for no reason. And it's like, what does it benefit you to just say, you know what, how's it going? Do you need anything? Like, how can I help you? Why you can't do that? But it has a lot to do with people's inadequacy or how they feel about themselves. And a lot of people are scared and fearful of stepping out and doing new things. And so they don't pour into someone else because they're caught up in their own fear. But at the end of the day, if you support your friend, then you should be there for your friend. That's just how I feel. Like, if that's who you call your day one, then you should act like that's your day one. I'm just saying. That's how it should be. Not the slick slide stuff that a lot of women have done. And it definitely starts when Yeah, girls, because girls do this, and it's almost like we haven't gotten past the middle school phase or the high school phase. It's almost like you took the cattiness of being in school to adulthood, and technically you should have elevated, you should have grown, you should be at a different level, but everybody not there. Everybody is not there. So I don't feel like you should feel threatened by other women who are confident, who are successful. I think that we should start embracing other women who have the confidence, and let that confidence and success roll off on you. Because when you're in connection with people who are confident, who are successful, and they got things going on, the more that you around them, you're inviting that into your environment. You're having the conversations that enlighten you, that encourage you, that pour into you. It's gonna rub off on you. You're gonna have the same confidence and the same doggone success. So I think that we as women need to do a better job of supporting one another in different capacities, whether it's your spiritual growth, your mental growth, whether it is a business venture, whether it is a change in life that you want to make. I feel like that needs to be done, because it's so much negativity in the world. And I feel like even though the negativity in the world is just so much greater, if we have a community where women are speaking life into one another constantly, especially black women, and I'm gonna say this because it be all black women that be extra shady. I'm just gonna put it out there. If we as black women look at, number one, all of the freaking struggles that we done been through as a culture, let's start there. And then we still going through struggles today. We are still going through struggles as black people today. Why do we still want our sister to struggle even more with our nasty attitudes? Like, it makes no sense. It honestly makes no sense. I feel like we should be more conscious and more aware of how far we can go if we are in healthy relationship with one another. And actually cultivating different relationships, different investment groups, different things that will help our community. I feel like that as black people anyway. And I've had this conversation about systematic racism. It's on my YouTube channel, where I went into all of the different stages and phases of racism that we've experienced as a people. And if we were to change our mindset around how we do things, about how we spend, about our vision and where we need to go, and recognize where we came from, and start to strategize to do things to help our community, we would be a lot further along. We complain about Jewish people and how they have money, but they do community where they help one another. How do you think the Asians come over here and get all these beauty supply stores? They do the same thing. How do you think that Middle Eastern people come here and get all the liquor stores and whatever else, corner stores, gas stations? Because they do the same thing. We, for some reason, do not get on the same page. We want to act like crabs in a barrel, and we pulling the other person down as they're rising up instead of helping them up, and then they help us up. I don't know. I don't understand. Whatever. But I feel like we as women are nurturers. We are nurturers, or supposed to be nurturers. We are the ones that raise the children. A lot of us raise the children, go out and make money, come home, cook the bacon, whatever you want to call it. And we do 100 million things, right? And so from all of the things that we do, there's still a level of nurturing involved in it. But you dismiss that nurturing part when you are beefing with another woman for no reason. Like, there's no absolute reason. Or when you are showing mean woman syndrome, I'm going to call it, going from a mean girl to a mean woman, and demonstrating that in front of your kids, it dismisses the nurturing capacity that you're supposed to have. And even it causes confusion in the household, because even when you are a mean woman, it's hard for you, like I said before, to be in a relationship with anybody, but especially be in a relationship with a man. So if you're a mean woman and you have a mean woman spirit, your household is going to have that, because women set the tone for the household. And I don't think a lot of women really realize that. And a lot of the dysfunction that we see is because I did say men and women are not in their right places. But if you are a woman who is head of a household and you are not emotionally where you should be, the household, the kids, everybody's gonna fall apart, because the woman essentially sets the tone for the household. She's also the manager. So if you all over the place, then who's managing what? It's not getting done. But also, the one thing that I will say that is missing in 2022, those relationships that my mom had with all of her friends was a community. And when you are beefing with other women, how do you create community when a woman is your constant competition? You got kids that can't be watched by nobody because you want to beef with everybody. You have kids that don't know how to have healthy friendships because they have parents or mothers who are always beefing, beating somebody up, fighting, going to jail for goofy stuff, all types of nonsense. So then what do you think is going to happen once those kids get older? They're going to think that that type of behavior is okay, and they're going to act it out and then become adults who do the same thing, unless they decide within themselves that they're going to be different. But it is not a healthy element. And this falls into, do mean women raise mean girls? That was another question that I asked. And so if this woman is a mean woman and she has a daughter, she's naturally showing her daughter how to conduct herself as a mean girl / mean woman when she grows up. And then she's going to mimic the same behavior, even if her mother is not giving her the verbal lesson. She's going by the example. The other thing that I would say is that there are a lot of resources in this day and age that you can use to help you through your journey. Because another thing that I realized, that a lot of women are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed because they're doing a lot of different things. And I was having this conversation with my mom, and I was telling her, like, I know that it's a lot to go to work, raise kids, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, make sure that the bills are paid and the house is running smoothly. It's a lot. So sometimes that meanness can be because a woman is doing a lot of different things. And so because she has all of this burden on her back, you know, and she has no support, because there are some women that don't have any support at all, they start lashing out. And so, but it doesn't help to lash out when you need community. Even the phrase that a lot of women use, you ain't gonna talk to my kids like that, you ain't gonna, you know, whatever the what is it, I don't play about mine. I've never heard grandparents saying no mess like that. Like, I've never heard my mama repeat that, but for some reason, women are saying that. And when you do that, you're putting yourself on an island, and it's like, well, I don't need anybody, I don't need any support, I'm good all by myself. But then you not, because you stressed out, you working 2 jobs, you are, you know, trying to get back and forth, make sure bills are paid, and then you out here talking about you don't play about yours, but yet you by yourself stressing out, going crazy, and then not cultivating relationships with other people because you don't want nobody to tell you about your kids. But at the end of the day, in order to raise kids, you need a community. And so women folks have always been the community. Let me say that. The women folks have always been the community, because they have always been the ones to nurture the children. Just like in my family, I have a big family. I still have a big family, even though some people have passed away. Growing up, when my mom, my dad had to go to work or whatever, we went to my great-grandmother's house. My great-grandmother, at one point we was living with her. Like, when I was little, we lived with her. And everybody lived there. Cause my grandmother had 11 kids, okay? From them 11 kids that was birthed out of them 11 kids. And so, we was in a 2-flat. Y'all, we was in a 2-flat. And great-grandmother was upstairs, grandpa on the main level, the first floor. And then you had the basement, auntie in the basement with her kid. But you had kids that was spread across the 3 floors with their kids. But the thing about that, and that's community in itself, is if somebody got to go to work, is an emergency, they can call anybody. Anybody in the building. They could call anybody. When we moved, you know, and we moved to Maywood, my mom had community from people she grew up with to people that she worked with. So if she had to be somewhere, and let's just say my great-grandmother was doing something, maybe she got all-night revival or something, I don't know. You know, she could call a friend and be like, hey, can you watch my kids? I'll bring them to you. She would always come with the food, so they don't got to feed us. You know, all that kind of stuff. That's what I grew up in. And so that is really important, though. And that's what's lacking. You know, everybody's right now wanting to, especially women, we are creating businesses in this day and age. And from the 2 years of all of the nonsense that has happened, a lot of us have created businesses. I actually had my businesses before the pandemic happened, before all of this, where everybody actually has the same business. But my first business was in 2015, and the second one was started actually in 2018. And then the nonprofit was started in 2019. So it was started before the pandemic. But with that comes stress. It comes big time stress. So if you're trying to be a business owner, then, and you have children, and you're working a 9 to 5, let's just say you in school, because I was in school the whole time, actually. So in school, that's stress. That's hella stress. You need help. You need community. You need somebody that you can drop your kids off to while you go take care of this. While you sit down and plan out maybe your what you have to do, your pricing, whatever products, taking inventory. Shoot, maybe your bookkeeping. Maybe you have to do a handbook. Maybe you need to strategize hiring some new employees. Maybe you have studying to do for that class. Maybe you got all these things to do. You need a community. So being a mean woman is not going to help or benefit you. It also will hinder you in your business, because the only way that you will be able to grow in business, even in your personal, I would even say in your personal life, your growth happens through people, through connection to people. Your business taking off or being noticed is through connection to people. I would say from my own experience, even doing this fundraiser that I did last month for Empower Society, did the supply drive, raise money to even buy supplies to give to, students who are in need. I winded up connecting with different schools and different organizations, and a lot of these people are women. Go figure. They're women. And it's like all of that connection, and like I had to come out of myself, because this is the other part. They not black women. They white. They white women. Some of these women come from different backgrounds. Some of them are wealthy. Some of them, are middle class. And some of them, are your everyday, person trying to make it. But needless to say, they came from all different walks of life. Yes, there were some black women who I came in contact with, but they weren't the directors of these organizations. They were actually working for these organizations, which is another point that I'm about to make in a minute. And so working with talking to these women, even I had to pick their brain. And the crazy part is they were trying to pick my brain. They're like, how do you do this? How do you create an organization and carry on after your sister and do this and do that? Yes, we want to be a part. Yes, we want to be in partnership. One lady, I had reached out to her because I wanted to buy her book. The lady gave me the book for 50% off and was like, you can put it on your mobile app. And I was like, yes, I was going to do that. I wanted to promote your book. And she was like, what? Oh my goodness. Amazing. She done downloaded the app, told people about it. It is connection, and this is with a woman. Okay. Another organization, the organization that offered me the offered me the table at Kindness Day to give away school supplies. This lady, my sister was a part of the organization as a participant. I just happened to call to see if her participants needed school supplies, and she offered me the whole table at this event. And then I'm like, whoa. And we're on the phone and we're talking like girlfriends. I don't know this lady. Like that. But she's been the executive director for this organization for the past 15 to 20 years. And we on the phone talking like old girlfriends. And what she says was, at the end of the conversation, I admire what you do. Whatever you need, let me know. And I will do whatever I can do to help you. She gave me a whole bag of stuff, all types of stuff. And it was amazing. And she was just like, just let me know. She done told people about the organization. This is what networking with women does, okay? I get to Kindness Day, and one of my sister's instructors, this black lady, you know, we hug because that was my girl, you know. But she's telling me, she's like, you know, I just became an attorney. So I'm like, yes, girl, yes. You know, I'm screaming. Ladies is looking at me like I'm crazy. I don't care. Because I'm like, black woman, you done became an attorney. She not a spring chicken. Like, she a little bit older than I am, but she decided to follow her dreams. I was just like so amazed by that. She's like, whatever you need. If you need me to volunteer, if you need me to do anything, I got you. Now, if I was being a mean woman and I ain't want to talk to nobody and I'm standoffish like I once was, you know, I was standoffish. I didn't do relationships well when it came to women. If I was that same person right now, I wouldn't have been able to help as many children as I was able to help with the supply drive. That woman wouldn't invite me to that event. I wouldn't have got as many donations as I got. Even a lady at work, I don't know her from a can of paint. We just got to talking, and she was like, I want to donate. Let me know whatever you need. Okay? Network. So, it don't pay. I'm going to just say this. It don't pay to be a mean woman. It does not pay. Especially in this day and age when you're trying to build something for your future. It pays to actually be in relationship with other women, because a lot of these women are executive directors, CEOs of different multi-million-dollar companies. The other thing is a donation that I got for the gummy bears was Albanese. That was a woman. And she was like, oh my goodness, how can I help? What do you want? Let me know. I'm like, I just needed some gummy bears just to add in the kids' bags. That's it. 300 gummy bears. You can come pick them up by Friday. Just like that. So, again, I'm going to stress that being in relationship with other women is very important. And you have to put your issues, your childhood issues on the back burner when it comes to that, because they're not responsible for your mental health. People outside of you are not responsible for your mental health or your pain. So you got to get help for that. And I do stress the importance of really getting help for whatever issues you are dealing with, because you deserve to be happy and healthy, and the other people don't deserve for you to be lashing out at them, okay? The other thing that I wanted to bring up was what I did notice in doing this fundraiser, and this was the third year of doing this, but this one was the biggest one. So I'm like, next year, this is gonna be big. But I noticed that there were a lot of black women who were not in these different organizations and heads of these different organizations. They were working for these organizations, you know, just helping out or being employees. And so I feel like if we were to get together, be on the same page, we can actually dominate the same field. along with our white counterparts who are in these fields. And so I'm going to leave with this, because this is my offer. My organization, Empower Society, is looking for volunteers, looking for employees for the organization. And I would like Black women, preferably moms of children with disabilities, to be a part. I also have another business that helps those moms become entrepreneurs and all of these other things. So I do have that part too, if that's the track that they want to go on. But Empower Society is hiring for staff, and we need volunteers. And I preferably want Black women who have children with disabilities, because they will understand the mission, the vision, and all of that. But I want us to have a community to where we are helping one another, cultivating one another, uplifting one another, and doing relationship right with one another. So with that is our community conversation. Let me see. Don't have any comments in the chat, but I thank you all for joining. If you have topics that you want to talk about, you can email me or DM me, whichever is easiest. And if you are interested in becoming a volunteer, if you want to donate, or if you are interested in becoming staff, number one, this is only for people who are serious inquiries only, no nonsense. That's all I'm gonna say. No nonsense. Contact me at contact@empowersociety21.org. Email me, put your name, send a resume with it, and I will contact you and let you know what positions are available or what opportunities are available. If you want to donate to Empower Society, just go to empowersociety21.org. You can click the donate button and donate. We actually have an event that it will actually be in November. So I am collecting donations for that event. I'm actually doing a grocery giveaway for the holiday season. So if you would like to donate for that, because that's given to parents who are in need of groceries. You already know, y'all, that the food prices is high. They high, gas high, everything high. So I want to bless somebody's life. So feel free. Doesn't matter what the amount is. You can donate any amount. If it's $1, anything helps. I have linked up with a pastor who will be giving me donations for various things, actually. So I will be able to donate furniture and different things. So number one, if you know that you know someone in need, like if you have somebody that's in your vicinity that is in need of donations, email me, contact at empowersociety21.org. Let me know what the need is, and I will see if I can accommodate. Also, like I said, if you want to donate, click the link. It should actually be in my link tree. So if you click the link in my bio, it should actually take you to the link for Empower Society where you can donate. And so next month, which is in a couple of days, is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. So there are a few things that I would like to do. I will be posting quite a few things, but I will also be having conversations about disability awareness. Please follow Empowered Society's app page on Instagram. It's also on Facebook. But follow the page, and we'll be just giving some gems, even public policy things that are coming up, different events that are coming up, because there are events like Sunday. There's a fashion show, so there are a couple people that will be there that I know. And I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it on that day. I'm going to just leave that like that. But it's a fashion show my sister was a part of, and I'm actually on the board for that organization. And so I was able to get this young man to be a part of the fashion show. So I'm like really excited about that. But I'm there as a volunteer to, help set up. But I'll be able to get and view the fashion show. So I definitely take pictures and video of the different models that'll be a part of it. There's also a Best Buddies walk that I'm going to be doing. It's in Bolingbrook. So if you all are interested, I'm going to just put everything in my link tree so you'll be able to, if you want to be involved. But the month of October, I'll be involved in a bunch of different things. So if you all want to join me, you are welcome to. What else? I'm going to have a sibling talk about being a sibling of, an individual with disabilities, which I am actually going to turn into a book. So that will be happening this month as well. Not the book though, but the conversation. The book is a work in progress. So with that, I thank you all for joining. I will see you back next week, same time, 8 o'clock. Yes, you all have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.